Hello everybody, I'm John, this is JP Strategic Investments, and we are going to talk about Patriot One Technologies again today. And I do want to apologize to those of you guys who follow my channel, who watch my videos, who maybe aren't invested or don't follow Patriot One Technologies stock. But when a stock doubles over the course of essentially 2 weeks and is looking like it's set up to keep going even further, you kind of have to talk about it. And so that's what we're going to do today. And just to jump right in here, we're going to talk about this screenshot, and credit to those of you guys who found this first, those of you who posted into the Facebook groups. Definitely shout out to you guys. But this essentially looks like a pre-release of a lot of the major numbers that we generally get in the earnings report. There's some other things here in the presentation, and I don't want to go over too much of them because I think a lot of what they're going to talk about tomorrow is this corporate presentation. So hopefully we'll get some more context around that, and it'll be nice to just see what they say about it tomorrow. But I do want to focus on this slide here because these are some big numbers. A lot of you guys probably already understand why, but I just want to illustrate this because it's pretty huge. So if we go back to the earnings report that we got, their last earnings report, which was the quarter ending in October, okay? You can see here, right here, the platform backlog, right? They switched PatScan to platform. So the platform backlog is $1 million, extract is $2 million, okay? So total backlog as of October 31st is $3 million, right? Then if you guys watched my video where I found a little kind of hint of some new information in the new short form prospectus that they released, this was basically beginning of January, so probably as of when they put this together, maybe end of December. First 2 months of the quarter that just ended in January. Now we have 12 customers representing 2.7 million in contract value, and this is specifically for platform sales. And we have 3 million total from extract, okay? So we have essentially almost a tripling in those first 2 months. But it gets even better than that. Now, as of the end of January, right, January 2022, now we have 23 contracts and a $5.8 million backlog. Now, a little caveat here. Some of you guys may not have noticed this. Some of you guys may have. If you zoom in here, little asterisk, 2.1 million of the current backlog is pending successful trial, okay? So it's not quite really included in there yet, but they probably, for this presentation, just wanted to make sure they included that. And if they are including that, it's probably a pretty good likelihood that it's going to be a signed contract. So either way, just in the last month of January, they added another 11 contracts and increased that backlog from 2.7 million now to 5.8 million. This is really huge. And on top of that, 31 pilots that are currently going on and 42 million in qualified pipeline. Now, I really am curious though, exactly what they mean by a qualified pipeline. And the reason is because if a qualified pipeline, if this is, you know, customers that are currently in talks to set up pilots and to, you know, go ahead with trying the product out, that is really, really good. But if this is pipeline with maybe, just a customer that they've reached out to so far, that's not, you know, quite as relevant, right? But depending on how far along the customer actually has to be within that sales process to be considered part of their qualified pipeline, this could be really big news as well, because if you have 42 million qualified pipeline and that qualified pipeline is customers that are already talking about getting into a pilot, that is going to be some big growth ahead of them, and we've already started to see this. I'm honestly really, really impressed with how fast they're growing this here, and this isn't even including, based on my analysis here, this isn't even including extract, because this number here, that was the backlog, I believe, for just PatScan or platform backlog as of March 2021, which they're mentioning here. So we could, you know, have now $4 million in extract contracts. You know, we had $3 million right at the beginning of January, right? We could have even more from extract. So total backlog here, we could be looking, you know, now getting close to $9 or $10 million in total backlog. This is setting up the company really, really nicely. Now, I do want to talk about something here, because if we look at the stock price, it's essentially doubled. If you look back to the beginning of, or the end of January, right? We're trading at around 26 cents a share. I'm using the US version, PTOTF, because I'm in the US. It's over doubled since then. 2 weeks, right? It's more than doubled now. And what I want to mention here, some of you guys, those of you that are in my Discord server, you know I have trimmed my position a couple times as we've seen these large jumps, right? Especially on these days where we're having, you know, 20, 30% plus moves here, okay? And I'm really only doing that to maintain a certain level of the stock in my portfolio. I really don't like when a stock becomes too large of a portion of my portfolio. To be honest, for the most part, if a stock's over 25% of my portfolio, that's really something that I don't like. Currently, after trimming, Patriot One is over 30% of my portfolio at the moment. And I'm really not necessarily liking that. And really, the only reason that I'm doing that right now, I'm pretty young, I'm in my late 20s, and a lot of this money that I have invested in the stock is in a Roth IRA that I'm not going to be touching for, you know, 40 years, 30, 40 years down the road. And, you know, I have time, right, to recoup some losses if I have some losses. But I'm really, really trying not to be greedy here. So, you know, you can see I have actually a couple alerts set up here. So I have an alert set at 60 cents. I actually set that alert, you know, 3 days ago or so, because it was looking like we were probably going to get up there. But just so that you guys know, when I am selling, as of now, as of the information that I currently have with Patriot One, it's really just to make sure that I don't have one stock become too much of a position of my portfolio. And some of you guys may be comfortable having, you know, 80% of your portfolio in one stock or 100% of your portfolio in one stock. And, you know, hopefully everything works out for you and you make a ton of money. But personally, you know, I'm not quite willing to take that risk. And so I will probably, you know, just trim here and there as we get these large moves up and down, especially, you know, if Patriot One is outperforming the other stocks that are in my portfolio, which obviously right now it is doing, even though we had Tesla go up 5% today and CrowdStrike was up 5% today, obviously a 30% move is much more than that. So I am probably the most excited that I've ever been about Patriot One stock, but I'm really trying to stay disciplined here and make sure that, you know, I don't just let Patriot One stock become 60%, 70% of my portfolio. Just letting you know kind of my thoughts around this, around the stock movement, and kind of what I'm looking at. Again, really excited for, you know, the webinar tomorrow and just, you know, the future of the stock right now, because it's looking like things are lining up very well. Again, as always, if you have any questions or comments or anything about what I just went over, definitely leave those in the comments below. Other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow for another review of that webinar, and have a great day.